All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is General Greene. God bless each and everybody tuning in. We have a very serious emergency evacuation taking place with a number of wildfires breaking out all across the panhandle of Texas. This is a story. Please like and share, get it out, break those algorithms. They don't want true information out to the American public. We already know that. We know that we've lost most of our freedom and speech in recent years. So just get it out, share it with friends and family. But I find this highly, highly suspicious. And again, I've been tracking this in recent hours and in recent days as near 1 million acres are burned and thousands of cattle are lost. There have been some civilian casualties, at least one person that has tragically lost its life so far, as well as homes, buildings. But what really raised an eyebrow over the last 24, 48 hours for me personally, and I'm sure many of you tuning in that actually can think for a living and question authority and question the media and what you're being told, and also the convenient nature of these fires that we keep seeing erupting that have never happened in 100 years. Case in point, here in Lahaina. Tragically reported on those events because I was here when it actually happened. And I reported on the ground. There was 3 days of power loss, no communication, no help from the outside world, no communication from the government, total grid down. But it's interesting that the targets of the fires just miraculously seem to be in the areas that could be argued as an act of war, and also are in the same areas they're establishing and already had plans drawn up for these 15-minute cities and other endeavors as they're leading us into the quote-unquote new system, otherwise known as the New Order, by 2030. It's suspicious, isn't it? Because we've never seen anything like this before. And what I find really, really interesting about this Texas emergency panhandle panic fire that is shutting everything down is it specifically and conveniently, just random, as usual, affects, just like the lockdowns, right? It was just random that had to restructure the entire world and close your small business down and create enormous amounts of debt to transfer all the wealth to the elites. It was just an accident. And I want you to keep that in mind. Just random occurrences that line up perfectly for every checkbox of new power and control and surveillance and money transfer and wealth creation and digital dollars and CBDCs. It's just all random. So I want you to keep that in mind. You can tell I'm being facetious here. But what I find very interesting is at a time of World War III, ladies and gentlemen, folks, we are at World War III right now. Israel is World War III. In fact, I'm going to get to my prediction very, very soon on that after covering this Texas panic emergency wildfire situation, because I believe Israel will attack Lebanon within days. Within days. Opening up a larger scale Middle East World War III conflict, not just with Russia and China, but also Lebanon, Iran, and more poignantly, the reason for the hit on Lebanon will be to target Hezbollah. So I'll get to that story in a minute. But here is what is absolutely breathtaking, is the Texas wildfires just happen during a time of World War III, economic collapse, dollar collapse, cryptocurrency soaring to the moon, Bitcoin. Go check the headlines, on its way to break new record highs. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But specifically shuts down America's largest nuclear facility that we have. One of them. Shuts down the assembly plant that includes hundreds of buildings of nuclear weapons and the quote-unquote atomic bomb. And I want you to think about this. So, grid down, and it affects America's facilities that manufacture and actually produce the weapons that are needed during World War III to fight Russia and China. Now, keep in mind, there's been weather balloons that have been floating around in our sky. They brought our cellular grid down just a couple days ago, and that story has already died. No one's talking about it anymore. In fact, we don't even know what it was. What was that shiny object floating through the sky, ladies and gentlemen, over Colorado? Notice how the media is completely mum on it. There's no more news. Even though we know, based on their information, at least what they told us, that it was a fact China had a Chinese spy balloon floating through our skies in the previous Super Bowl during when Rihanna gave her predictive programming Illuminati performance, Diamonds in the Sky. It's all predictive programming, folks. So this is very, very interesting because we know factually that weather warfare and weather modification is a very, very real thing that they can control in our skies with the same weather balloons, floating through, that they've dropped those stories and won't even tell us what they're even about anymore. And they're moving past the whole cellular grid going down randomly. Not just one company making a regular routine site upgrade like they told us, which I don't believe at all. I mean, we're talking every single cellular provider in the country. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Cricket, the list goes on and on. The same cellular technology that we know for a fact, because the fake news told us this a year ago, was used by the Chinese spy satellite in America's cellular infrastructure to communicate intel and surveillance back to Xi Jinping. Again, we're at war, and this is my point. These weather events, in my humble opinion, and I have to say it's my opinion, but I'm suspecting many of you would agree with me, are acts of war during World War. And so this is just bonkers to think about. A nuclear weapons facility, this is from AP, was forced to shut down and evacuate most of its staff during a fast-moving wildfire in the Texas Panhandle. The Pantex plant, go look this up, northeast of Amarillo, and the fires are breaking out all around the Panhandle up there on the north side, northeast of Texas, evacuated their non-essential staff Tuesday night as the blaze rapidly grew. And then it continues and asks, well, what is Pantex? Again, it's the assembly plant for the atomic bombs, for the nuclear warfare that even Vladimir Putin, in his recent speech to his equivalent Congress within the last 24 hours, warned he will nuke the United States of America. And I'll get to that story in a minute, over Ukraine. And we'll talk about that. So Pantex is one of 6 production facilities in the National Nuclear Security Administration's nuclear security enterprise. The plant has been the main U.S. site for assembling and disassembling atomic bombs since 1975. So I'm not going to go in too much detail. Very, 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 very odd. It's also odd that it's also hitting Texas, the Patriot state, where all the patriots live, the true Americans that are actually resisting this new system of control. So there's the Texas wildfire. Let's talk about Israel's attack, and I believe imminent. You've heard it here first. This is another prediction here. Israel's imminent attack of Lebanon. I believe that the IDF and the U.S. government, as well as the West, Macron, the Mark over in France, and others, have now greenlit a further altercation and direct attack on Lebanon, courtesy of Israel. Why are they doing this? Well, Joe Biden was licking his ice cream cone a couple days ago, remember? He was slurping his, vanilla bean ice cream. And he said he was hopeful, even by the end of the week, I can share this, that there could be a ceasefire. He was hopeful. Well, when they say peace, they really mean war. So what is Israel doing right now? I believe in the West, because they're all in it together, fighting this war together, just like the U.S. is fighting the war in Ukraine directly against Russia, even if it's kind of indirect. They're the ones funding it and arming it and providing all the materials and the bombs and the arms and munitions for Ukraine. So that's war with Russia. You're at war with Russia right now, and China and all the BRICS nations. But Israel is just repositioning its forces that just went in and took out 30,000 civilians, by the way, in Palestine, and have also been hitting Rafah, which is a very, very serious issue that the Iranians are extremely concerned about, especially during Ramadan, which I believe starts March and lasts through early April, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they're simply just repositioning, the ceasefire. It's going to be peace for a day, guys, before they attack and invade another country. So I believe Israel is getting ready to attack Lebanon, snuff out all these groups. But this will then open the door and the window so the United States can attack Iran. Because again, that's the agenda. I mean, they even told us it in the Top Gun movies, right? Top Gun 2, who are we fighting? Iran. They're even coming out with Top Gun 3. Who do you think we'll be fighting? Iran. Because again, the goal has always been to go to war with Iran. We've had, generals in the past tell us this, that Iran is the final card to pull for the elites. Iraq, Afghanistan, they took out Libya because Libya was actually trying to form an African coalition that de-dollarized itself away from the petrodollar American empire, so they took them out. You remember Hillary Clinton? We came, he saw, and he died. That's what she said. And then remember when she had a concussion type attack? Because she's allegedly had a brain tumor. I don't know if you know this, but it's pretty well known with inside political circles. I even told you about this when it happened, that she had a brain tumor that needed to be operated on, which is why she was having cognitive disabilities. Remember when she was thrown in like a carcass into that black truck during the election of Donald Trump? The first time. She took out Libya. They withdrew. America, what did it do? Biden withdrew assets from Afghanistan. Why? So that they could go to war in the Middle East, so they could attack Gaza, so that they could redistribute those assets. And that is what Israel is doing. So don't let the media lie to you and tell you that there's going to be some kind of ceasefire. No, expect more war. Expect direct attack on Iran very soon. Direct attack on Lebanon. And, God bless all nations involved in this. And really what we should be angry with is not the people, but the politicians. You see, the politicians are very, very evil. Very, very evil. Okay, this is what we need to understand. We're not against the people. The people are good. It's the demonic evil forces. It's these political, leaders that are the problem. It's not the people of Lebanon, the people of Iran. It's not, the people of America. It's not the people of Europe. It's the leadership. It's the evil satanic cabal that is moving us into this totalitarianism that we should be focused on. And again, trust this plan. Ladies and gentlemen, also Ukraine, by the summer, the U.S. has, of course, been losing the war because they intended to lose it. The whole point was to bankrupt the United States. The only reason the United States is at war in Ukraine and backing that war is to bankrupt the United States. That's actually what your politicians want, because the sooner and quicker they can bankrupt the USA, collapse the stock market, eviscerate the U.S. dollar, throw it in the toilet, the quicker they can reset us into the new digital form of the CBDCs I've been telling you that they're going to do. The quicker Bitcoin pumps, the quicker cryptocurrency pumps. And by the way, shout out, since my public announcement for Tezos, tell you Bezos, we're up over 40 freaking percent, and we're going much, much higher. I'm expecting a 2 to 3x this week, a 10x very shortly, and then a 100x as altcoin season has now officially started. And XTZ, my number one now public pick, also my pick at school you would have known about way in advance, so you could have gotten in, and locked in those gains, is already up an astonishing rocket ship, 40+%. And by the way, there's a lot that you don't know about Tezos. Tezos is actually blockchainifying segments of real estate. You see, I guide you in these areas for a very specific reason. They're actually tokenizing real estate, guys. The St. Regis, one of the largest hotels and hotel chains in the world, guess what blockchain they're using? Tezos. A lot of you don't know that Tezos actually owns thousands and tens of thousands of Bitcoin. So it's also a Bitcoin play. As Bitcoin rises and more liquidity comes into the market, Tezos outperforms. So you'll notice yesterday when Bitcoin was up, 8%, Tezos was up 15% or 12%. It's an outperformer as we push into new all-time highs. But I'll get to that in a minute. I mean, honestly, now with the threat of nuclear war, Vladimir Putin threatening the United States to blast us with his hypersonic missiles at any moment, his equivalent Satan II nuke, money's the least of our concerns, especially as this giant wildfire is ripping through 1 million acres in Texas and shutting down our nuclear facilities. So let's get to more of this story here in a minute. So what I think about Ukraine is the Ukraine war is not only lost, but it'll largely be over near the summer. And that's when I expect Putin to take full control of Kyiv and Odessa and absolutely decimate and completely conquer what used to be a part of the Russian Empire, which, again, the only reason he's there is he's defending against NATO aggression. Remember, NATO promised that, and now they're introducing Finland and Sweden into the mix suddenly, so it's growing. Again, they're breaking their promise. Always told Putin that they would not encroach post-World War II. But instead of doing that, they lied to him. They lied to the BRICS nations. They overthrew the Viktor Yanukovych government, which was the only rightful, true government of Ukraine, which was very friendly to Russia. And then they installed an actor puppet in the name of Zelensky, who's now hosing the American taxpayer billions and billions of dollars a month. And those are the facts. Those are the cold, hard, critical facts. That's why I was able to predict that there would be World War III starting in Ukraine as the proxy war years ago. And I warned and predicted it because I always knew that the action that the U.S. took and that coup d'etat would result in ultimate conflict because Putin would defend himself and his borders, his territory, just like you would. If Mexico was, pointing nukes at the United States of America, the United States of America would defend against that actions, just like Russia is doing today. So this is huge. So the big takeaway here is, well, the fires. We know that's incredibly suspicious. We know weather warfare is real. We've understood and reported on HARP for almost going on 2 generations now. The satellite space wars, their laser technologies, all of that is real. I've reported on it many, many times before. They're cloud seeding your skies and they're spraying them. You can look at this up. Harvard has now disclosed, our major universities, along with governments, they're all telling you they do this now. They're spraying the skies. They told you they weren't before, but now they admit it. And what they're doing is they're using seawater and other chemicals that they're spraying, toxic fumes, all into our skies, which, by the way, I want to comment on this. The day of the fires in Lahaina, I was here before the grid went down, and the massive winds took over. I've never seen anything like it, not in 3 generations. I've had family of 3 generations here. I've never seen anything like it. Now, coincidentally, I have a friend who's also from Maui, and guess where he was when the Texas fires just erupted a few days ago? And he's my source. I won't give his name. Texas, directly in the path of the fire, in the Panhandle. He was on a business trip. And he told me, he said, Christopher, it was just like Lahaina. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. He says, you know what? Honestly, I didn't believe it before. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I actually think that they are inflicting these fires. This is what he told me. So he's a gentleman who's actually been in both of these instances at the same time as an eyewitness account that tells me he's suspicious about what's currently going on. So this is very, very big news. Very, very big news. And the fact that you heard it here first, that Lebanon will be attacked very soon by Israel, followed by the U.S. striking Iran. Absolutely. And again, that's why my stories went viral a couple days ago. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. And please share this video because they don't want it out. They don't want it out, guys. They don't want this content out. I told you that this new weather balloon that now they've dropped the story on was from a rogue enemy nation state, in my opinion. And that's, I believe, to be the truth. And they've covered it up, and they brought down the cellular grid, even of which Elon Musk warned that this is a test just hours before they did all that. Because they had to take down the communication infrastructure to the surveillance spy satellite, probably run by China, Iran, or North Korea, or one of America's enemies, before it could communicate valuable intel, as it was just miraculously hovering over Colorado. You know, where NORAD sits, where deep installations and military aircraft and the U.S. Air Force and our nuclear fallout shelters and our bunkers and our black ops top secret information we can't even talk about here. You know that state. It's just random, guys, right? Just random. So this is huge news. This is huge news. And as I told you, every tick higher in the cryptocurrency space, every new all-time high in Bitcoin tells you 2 things. 1, America has collapsed. 2, the US dollar is finished. It's in a hyperinflationary decimation of itself. 4, we are on the verge of nuclear war now. And the reason is the US government that has always protected its sovereignty with war and the petrodollar and oil and its previous hegemonic order is over. It's over. And see, this is what people don't understand. The elites that really run things have already decided that the United States will take a back seat in the new international system and paradigm. Notice even over in the UK, and I don't follow the politics too closely there, but with the Queen and the King over there, they're actually getting rid of and removing that infrastructure as well. And why are they doing that? It's because it doesn't serve the new order anymore. And that's why we're seeing, the King, he has health problems. We see, what's her name? Kate. She's having health problems. People are stepping down miraculously. I believe all that is a cover as well, because again, they're establishing a new system. And this is what you really, really need to understand. Okay, like the politicians like Mitch McConnell, who's now stepping down, who turned on Trump. He's not your friend. These people have decided, and the people that control them, like puppets on a string, and the new system that really, I don't even really think the governments, like I'll give you this example. I don't even believe countries are really at war with each other. I think everybody's really working together in a way. That's how the cabal, in my opinion, works. So this is insane. This is absolutely insane. And another major story, I'll touch on it briefly. Notice you're getting a lot more talk about these humanoid robots, right? They're all fake, by the way. Elon Musk, remember when he showed you a couple years ago the new Optimus? It wasn't a real robot. It was a guy dressed up in a robot costume. But see, Americans are so stupid. They actually bought off on it and thought it was real. But it was literally a guy in a costume dancing around pretending to be a robot. Why are they doing that? Why are there all these new companies and these new startups from Bezos and others that are all focused on labor? You notice they're focused on labor right now, and they're using the artificial intelligence and ChatGPT specifically to merge it with these humanoid machines like the Optimus and the other equivalents. There's many companies doing this right now. Boston Dynamics, of course, they're working on the war front. So Boston Dynamics, its focus is the T2. Its focus is autonomous weapon systems of robots marching in the streets, making sure you comply. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, hell on earth is about to be unleashed in the United States of America and worldwide. And honestly, as I've said it before, unless you're part of the solution, you are our problem. You are literally our problem, because your compliance assures the collapse. Your compliance assures the destruction of America. Your compliance assures these world wars. Your compliance assures the collapse of the dollar. There's also been wealth reports coming out. Wealth has now skyrocketed for the top 0.01% more than it ever has before, which is why they did the lockdowns. I always told you that was their goal. They locked everyone down because that was their way to transfer all the wealth. Miraculously, it was convenient, right? It was another accident that just happened randomly to themselves. So now, in order to be like in the top 1% of wealth, in the United States, you need to be above 5 million. If you're uber wealthy, you're pushing like, I believe, 13 to 30 million. And in places like Monaco that have the highest distribution segment of millionaires, I believe pushes like above the $10 million mark. So my other point here is, while people like Dave Ramsey have called you stupid, that's a direct quote from Dave Ramsey, terrible financial advice, fire that guy. That guy, he's the guy that's stupid. He actually told Bitcoin holders years ago they were stupid to own Bitcoin and they would lose all their money. Well, now he's a laughing stock. I mean, I don't know why anyone would tune into anyone that ever told you not to buy Bitcoin, because they have proven to be idiots, stupid, and malfeasant and negligent. If your financial advisor ever told you not to buy Bitcoin, they are stupid, fire them. Tell them Christopher Greene here at AMTV told you to go fire them, because they're not smart. Because smart people, of course, have been buying Bitcoin. Let's talk about this, XTZ, cryptocurrency. So what's happening now is I'm expecting new all-time record highs within any moment. Could be as soon as today. We almost pushed them yesterday. I mean, even if you go to the fake news like CNN, they'll tell you Bitcoin about to break new all-time highs. And here's what I think the elites are going to do. They're going to allow Bitcoin to crush through like 100K plus, 150K plus. Then they're going to drop down a massive wild card scapegoat hammer like they usually do. Now, they're not going to be able to stop Bitcoin because, of course, Bitcoin has been designed for World War III, nuclear war, end of the dollar, collapse of fiat currencies, end of America, civil unrest. Bitcoin has been designed for all of it. Grid down. People ask me all the time, well, what happens to the Bitcoin if the grid goes down? It operates on satellites. And even if the satellites don't work and all power goes out for 10 years, number one, the whole U.S. population won't exist anymore. 99% of all people won't be here. And the people that are left over, the survivors, 10 years later, when the electricity suddenly pops on again, Bitcoin will start its hash rate again, and it will just continue going higher like it currently is. It's been designed for world war. The original code of Bitcoin, this is one of the reasons I knew about it, actually talked about the too big to fail banks. It's why they launched it in 2008 and 09. But that's just a little bit of a side point there. So crypto's going much higher. So, a big part of your solution right now is getting your hands on the disruption, because these other events you can't control. Again, when the announcement comes that Israel is attacking and invading Lebanon, maybe today, or the U.S. is attacking Iran, you're not going to be able to control that situation. When your bank accounts freeze, you're going to be in no control of it because you're non-essential, just like the lockdowns. When the capital controls and the executive actions come to the United States of America, and we live through political chaos here in 2024 regarding the election, you're not going to be able to control any of that. But what you can control is your discipline, your mind, your actions. You can move your money. You can get it into real assets. And you can join communities like ours that are actually building the digital Noah's Ark and the infrastructure, not just for your progress and survival, but for the very 1000x tokenization event with our multi-billion-dollar blockchain, which I'm super, super excited about. Again, we've closed on property number 3. Our third multi-million-dollar closing, all cash, no bank debt, $11 million deployed over the last 15 months, soon to be 33.5 million. Talk to my father, subscribe, become a member, islandproject.com. Of course, not financial advice. See my terms and disclaimers, not available to the public. So this is huge. All right, what else do I need to tell you that is super, super important right now? I'm just going through my notes. We talked about the fires. We've talked about the dollar collapse. Crypto is now unstoppable, breaking new all-time highs. Congratulations, all my members. Notice I put out one of my old Bitcoin Rich videos from 2019. All those people are rich now, even the kid. That was 2019. Remember, you could have bought Bitcoin at $3,500, folks. It's trading at 60K plus today, and soon at 100K. Absolutely amazing, and congrats to all of you and all of our members in Island Project. God bless you. God is with all of you. So Putin has also threatened to nuke the United States along with the West. I actually think this is going to occur, though, mostly in Europe. I think Europe, God forbid, is the target, which I've warned you. I've warned this for years. When the nuke goes off, it's going to be there. And here we have Vladimir Putin says he's threatening to nuke the West after accusing NATO of further aggression and believes that NATO is planning to strike Russia in his speech. Now, Macron, who's being used, the mark of the beast, who's being used as a proxy right now, insinuated and actually said that there's a high likelihood NATO will put troops on the ground in Ukraine. And Putin has said if the troops are on the ground, he'll nuke you. So I just want you to understand how close you are to nuclear war right now, because here's the deal. NATO is already there. That's what they're not telling you. Also, there's a lot of concern from Putin's perspective of Transnistria, if I'm saying that correctly, and some of the surrounding areas like Moldova, which also wants Russia to come in. So as Russia takes over and conquers Kiev and also Odessa in the coming months and takes over all of Ukraine, again, I don't even know if what's-his-face, Zelensky even gets out alive. I mean, quite frankly, they'll probably toss him now that the U.S. government's, done with him. And he's accomplished his mission of successfully bankrupting the United States and your children permanently, multi-generationally. They'll probably just get rid of the guy, maybe in a Franz Ferdinand-style moment, God forbid, to start World War III officially. So then all the talking heads and news wires can, run the news flash. World War III is here. Zelensky has been taken out. We have not seen this since the days of Franz Ferdinand. We are now at war. Breaking report, the U.S. airstrikes Iran directly and takes out, Soleimani or their whatever figures it is. And then they'll just start running those headlines. And that's when, bumbling fool, lollipop licking, Biden will come on and he'll read his speech. I'm declaring executive orders. We are now during an act of war. You have no rights at your banks anymore. We are freezing all accounts temporarily for the war effort. And we are issuing a new form of electronic bonds to pay for the war, of which you will not have a vote on, bypassing Congress and spending infinitely more, amounts of capital. It's actually what I think is going to happen, even though I'm, illustrating it for you guys a little bit. But that's actually what I think is going to really, really happen. So that is the primary theme that I want you guys to all be looking at right now. It's why crypto is so important. I mean, again, if there's one action you take today, get your money out of the banks like your life depends on it. If there's one action you take, even if you don't do it with us, then get your money out of the banks and deploy it into some kind of real asset that you have control and ownership over, and buy the best asset you can. Get out of these banks now, guys. I'm telling you, there's going to be total banking mayhem in the coming days, weeks, and months because, of course, you don't have any rights during World War III. And you learned this during the lockdowns. During the emergency, there are no rights. Your freedoms are eviscerated. The Constitution doesn't exist, and I'll close on this point. Notice that the radical left is now also demonizing God-fearing, amazing, beautiful Christians like yourself tuning in. And they are now weaponizing new terms that they've invented, which are all fake, like Christian nationalism. It's a new term that people like Hillary Clinton and the Obamas are now putting out to the American people. And they're going to be really campaigning, especially during this election, against Christians. And I just want you to understand that the persecution of God-fearing, good American, hard-working, middle-class people like yourself that love God, love Jesus, homeschool your kids, grow your own food, own real stuff, love God, love people, and make disciples are being persecuted now. And we see this through the media now because you are the target group, and I want you to understand this, where they're now calling all Christians, it's just terrible, guys, Christian nationalists or Christian nationalism. And that is a way that they're weaponizing language, okay, through propaganda to hurt the good, honest, God-fearing Americans that a lot of them don't even care about politics. When you hear the word nationalism, it sounds like, so crazy, like, oh my gosh, like, what is that? Is that, back to the days of, Germany and those topics we're not allowed to discuss? Like, what is that? I mean, nationalism should be a good thing, by the way. I mean, that means you're proud of your country and you're proud of America. But the whole idea here, and this is my point, there's a major agenda in the United States to divide the American people as much as possible during all this chaos by creating confusion, fear, uncertainty, anxiety. Again, this is why they locked you in your house and they prohibited travel and they closed your bank accounts all over the world. I hear the stories all day long, the tragic stories of my own members that are in Island Project had their bank accounts and pensions seized overseas, which is going to happen in the United States soon. It was just a precursor, ladies and gentlemen, in New Zealand, Canada, Australia, etc., of losing their pensions, their IRAs, their jobs, their incomes, their bank accounts, all of it seized. Because again, during the emergency measures, which are in now, just toss everything out the window. And we already saw tragically, most Americans didn't defend themselves through non-peaceful non-compliance, which is the solution. It's all peace. Just be peaceful. Don't comply. Say no. Hold off. Tell people, no, I'm going to wait this out. Don't touch my body. I own myself. It's my body. Don't x-ray my face like I told my dentist. Get out of my face. Hard hitting it in your face. Stand your ground. It's as easy as American apple pie. But the problem is most people in America, for whatever reason, based on fear or ignorance or confusion or the propaganda tactics, maybe just unknowing, that's being used and psychologically operated against them. And also, they control everything now, all spigots of media, all the technology oligopolists that own all of America now and are deeply embedded and working directly with DARPA and the Pentagon and Black Ops and the CIA, etc. That's what America is. And you must understand this. What you've been told about America is a lie, okay? And you really, really need to understand this. Nothing has changed in thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Since the monarchies of past, since the civilizations of the past, since Rome, since Egypt, since America. It's all the same. It's just how they sell it to you. And, the beautiful thing is Americans are waking up to not only how just extraordinarily powerful they are, but just how darn demonic, satanic, and evil and cowardly these people are that aim to control all of human population and destroy your life. And so that's a beautiful thing. And we should all be, thankful for that. And also, let's all glorify God and let's end in prayer. Let's call on the Holy Spirit. I was down on my knees yesterday, after producing my video. And I know I yell a lot, guys, but I just can't help it. I love you so much. I'm so passionate with what I do. And I just don't want to see the American people hurt. I don't want to see anyone around the world hurt. I want your life and your liberty and your prosperity. It really gets to me deep down in my heart. But I was praying yesterday, and I could feel God. I can feel my brother. They're all living inside of me, and they're speaking to me, and the Holy Spirit was filling me up with so much love. And I'm sitting there, and the rain starts to come down on me. There's been rainbows all around me multiple days. Notice I did my video the other day, and you notice how God just put it right behind me. It's because what I'm telling you is the truth. And God, who's in control, who speaks through me, I'm just his servant. Of course, I'm not saying I am God, but he speaks through me and he speaks through you as we are all of his people, through all of these warnings as watchmen and watchwomen on the tower. And I was just there in humbleness and humility as the rain was pouring down on my forehead and just rolling down my face. And I was just in prayer to him, and I could just feel all of his glory and his power and how his will is playing out in all of our lives, and that we are winning. And I was so grateful just knowing that his strength and power will overcome all these devil practitioners and demonic, satanic worshipers of the cabal that worship Satan, Baal, and directly have given their souls over to demons and great, great evil. And I was so humbled by that, to understand that with humility, but also the succinct nature of complete awareness and understanding through my limited understanding that only the Lord has given me. So let's end in prayer. Dear God, I pray for this amazing audience. I pray for these wonderful individuals. I pray for everybody tuning in of all faiths, regardless of your faith. I pray for the people, those that are being hurt by these policies, by these governments, by these officials, by these wars, by this hyperinflation, by this political chaos that we're seeing, the civil unrest that we're witnessing, and the intentional design to divide the American people. I pray that we realize that we are all one people, and that we truly have power through you that we can call upon to move mountains just through the faith of a mustard seed in all of our lives. That by taking action and not only listening to God and what we hear inside of us and all of our hearts, that we have tremendous power, more power than anything or anyone in this universe for that matter. And so I call on that power today, that you would fill everyone in this room with your love, your spirit, that the Holy Spirit would move inside of us, that this message would be shared with as many people as possible as we prepare, of course, with our arcs, the digital Noah's Ark, islandproject.com, our real estate endeavors, my team, along with our Father, our beautiful members, all my subscribers here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, etc., totaling over 1 million people worldwide that have, of course, been following me for nearly 18 years now. I pray for all their prosperity. I pray for your will regarding what they're doing in their lives, their jobs, their careers, the new openings and opportunities that you're presenting them with. I pray for their prosperity, what we're doing with crypto, what we're doing with Bitcoin, what we're doing with these alternatives like XTZ, my #1 pick at school right now. Also, Island Project itself. And we just pray, that that you would give us that courage and you would give us that strength, and more importantly, that you would drive our ship. We are here to serve you. We call on your guidance and your leadership and your stewardship. You're the one in charge, and you are driving our ark. You are driving us, our passion, the lifeblood that is Jesus Christ, that you bled out on a cross to show us all that you died for all of our sins and all the pain and suffering of this world. As you were whipped and absolutely destroyed, with the flesh being torn off your body, and as you hung there with your tendons blown out of your wrists and used your back muscles to barely succumb to the next breath over several hours, bearing your cross and bled out and died in front of all of those that witnessed that, our disciples that put it in the most holy book of true factual historical knowledge that we call the Bible today, that we would allow you through your power and your imminent return and of course second coming for your people to destroy all these evil people as this technological tower of Babel comes to an end, and every knee will bow, including the oligarchs that aim to control us through this new system and hegemonic order that they call themselves their agenda that they've set in 2030. And of course, what we've been warning about for some time now. Can I get an amen? What's up, Brother Rob Music? I hope that this message brings you encouragement today, especially with what we're facing. And I just want you to be strong with anything that you're facing right now. Just know that you're not doing it alone, and that you also have God behind you, not just to inspire you, but to protect you and to provide you with every tool that you're going to need for your success and prosperity, bringing more people to Jesus Christ, putting your money in the right places, good stewards, betting on success, betting on yourself, playing to win with islandproject.com, our school, and our amazing programs and everything that we're doing. And we are, and you are winning, ladies and gentlemen. I do fully expect a landslide victory by Donald Trump in 2024, although I have my differences in certain areas with Trump. I pray for Trump, and I am expecting a massive landslide victory in the United States. I also do not believe that the left is going to handle that very well, and I believe that there's going to be much more chaos here in America as a result. So we must get ready for that as well and understand that they will not allow that peaceful transition of power, in my opinion, to take place. So it's going to get bad, guys. And I just remind everybody, be peaceful out there, just like Jesus was. His mission, his statement to the world was peace. Remember that. Love your enemies, love your brothers, but it's and sisters out there, and love those that don't know. Love the people that hurt you. Love the people that locked you in your house. Love the people that destroyed your businesses and your lives and confiscated your income and your pensions and your 401ks and your retirement accounts. And it's gotten so bad in America, you can't even keep your kids in school nowadays. You've got to homeschool them. We can't rely on any of the infrastructure anymore. Our taxes are worthless. It just goes to wars, dropping more nuclear bombs. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's interesting too, and I'm talking a lot today, but you look at places like Dubai where there's really no tax at all. If you're anywhere else in the world but America, you can leave your country, go to Dubai, never pay taxes really. I think if you're in the top upper echelon, you might have to pay 9% in corporate tax, but outside of that, there's no taxes. But America, like Rome, and this is one of the reasons why Rome collapsed, taxed all of its citizens during its egregious wars and overspending and clipping of its coins and its coinage and its fiat worthless trash like the US dollar today, which is why it collapsed into a dark age, never to be seen again. Same thing is playing out now. So just understand it's not new news. Life isn't fair. Life isn't meant to be fair. Again, all the things you were told about America and any other country for that matter has been an outright bold-faced lie and has always been a lie. Governments are in place to control their target population and extract as much taxes and wealth away from them to take from your prosperity to give to themselves. And these are just the hardcore facts I know a lot of people don't want to believe because you've been conditioned for so long. Follow the rules. It's like, all the financial information I studied in college, graduated top of my class. I was the #1 hire at coming out into the brokerage industry. I'm no longer a broker at Merrill Lynch, but I was the #1 pick, highest paid performer. All the knowledge that we supposedly studied about cash flow statements, balance sheets, future cash flows, earnings per share, like all these things that I learned about, worthless. Toss them all in a bucket and set it on fire. The books that Benjamin Graham have written or whatever his name is about investing, toss them in a bucket and light it on fire. And the reason is there's no fundamentals. When you live in a country that prints currency from nothing, that creates enormous amounts of debt from nothing, that fractionalizes its debt into infinity backed by nothing and prints currency from thin air, that has a record amount of multiple trillions of dollars worth of debt and endless wars that it's fighting and endless bailouts, none of that matters. The stock market is a Ponzi scheme scam and it's going to collapse, which is why I'm telling you to get out. And as the stock market collapses, see that bird? He's proving my point as well, telling you it's going to collapse. Holy Spirit from God right there. As stocks collapse, Bitcoin and crypto will continue moving higher. We're decoupling now. Crypto is a non-sovereign asset, so is real estate. Real estate is a non-sovereign asset. It's the only thing that's going to be worth anything during war, during hyperinflation and economic collapse. This is why home prices keep going higher in the best locations in the world. It's why my members are making a ton of money. It's why we have an 8 to 12% cap rate on an annualized basis, huge capital gains potential, and I'm tokenizing it 1000x. See our intent to tokenize. Simply a 30K investment may in fact turn into millions of dollars just with a 30x on the tokenization in our main liquidity platform that I'll be launching in 2024. And it's as easy as that because it's not dependent on the dollar. And this is what people need to understand. Why do you have money in the first place? Why is money important? Money is important so you can buy this stuff. Money is important so you can buy real estate and actual tools that hold their value that you don't owe anything on. When you own property with a mortgage, you don't own it. That's a lease. You're leasing from the bank that is charging you 3 times the worth of the house over your entire life that can also seize the properties. Now, another major thing, I'm just going to comment on this because I'm on a roll today. I guess I love to talk, or I'm in a talkative mood, but a lot of people have asked me, well, what do you do with property taxes? Well, the Island Project pays all property taxes and insurance on your behalf based on property type, based on whether or not it's a vacation rental or it's a long-term investment play or it's one of our spec builds, like I've shared with you here in Maui, Booyah, that we're just about to start. But also, I've creatively designed, as I've planned this for years now, guys. This is not a new thing. I've planned our blockchain tokenization roadmap for years. Also has a feature that will actually pay taxes and insurance in perpetuity for the perpetuity lifespan of our project into the future. Because who knows what's going to happen? As World War III breaks out, as certain countries collapse to zero, as others are conquered, as we see throughout history, as all fiat currencies go to zero. We've put in place not only diversification, decentralization out of one specific sovereign government as we internationalize, and also protection with things like property taxes and insurance, etc., that even when you have the properties owned outright, you still need enough cash flows to pay that. Just things to keep in mind. Again, everything you've been sold has been a lie, especially if you're younger. If you're the younger generation, you get it. Baby boomers are just starting to realize they were lied to, because they were sold the lie for so long. Nothing against you beautiful baby boomers, but I know you've woken up, especially after you got screwed in 2008-09. They stole all your money with the, financial bailouts and the lockdowns and, the too big to fails and the mortgage-backed securities. You've learned your lesson. And you've learned your lesson again in 2020 with more PPP debts, loans, bailouts, money printing, debt, etc. You've learned your lesson. But see, the younger generation, and you guys are the future, so I'm speaking directly to you. You get this. You understand, like I do, that you have power. And not only that, you are the future of America and Americana. And I'm building Island Project not just for our beautiful members, but for your children, our members' children, our members' grandchildren, my kids, my family, the multi-generational wealth that's going to be needed to create during end times as we build the digital Noah's Ark and we enter really all this calamity. I will keep you updated, of course, on the tragic emergency evacuation Panhandle fires, of course, which are roaring through and I believe have now crushed through over 1 million acres burned, as well as the sudden collapse of the Pantex #1 largest, I believe, nuclear assembly plant that weaponizes atomic bombs and hypersonic missiles and nuclear weapons that may or may not be used in the future to combat Russia with its Sarmat Satan II nukes, and of course its hypersonics and China's weapon payloads. So, keep your eye on this. I do think we're going to see more weather warfare. That's my point. Expect more weather warfare, because isn't it a cunning way to take out your enemies? Because you can blame it on the weather. You're just like, oh, it was a random event. It's an act of God. It's the weather, which is the same reason why the insurance companies have now altered their insurance agreements for life insurance, the other insurance products I'm not allowed to talk about because we no longer live in a free country. I know you guys all know that. And other types of insurance that have now added language suddenly to acts of war, to acts of God, to the topic I'm not allowed to talk about, and even probably soon in the future, weather warfare, which falls under the acts of God. In that way, as entire civilizations are destroyed, towns like Lahaina are wiped out, Texas is destroyed, nuclear power plants go down, well, guess who gets left holding the hot potato bag? You do. And see, I tell you guys to compete. I tell you to become great. I tell you to become the success. I tell you to become the 1000X. I tell you to become the gold medalist, to play for the win, to find the 1000X, to start those businesses, to create those cash flows, to fight back peacefully and build your ark at islandproject.com. And of course, I am General Greene, Diamond Nuts, my father, John Greene, out in beautiful Oahu. Booyah. I'll be seeing you soon as we are now in process and active negotiations. Congratulations for property 4 and 5. I'm so excited about that. And the reason I'm so motivated is I know there's not a lot of time to get ready. That's why you guys, Chris, where does your energy come from, bro? Where does it come from? Because I know there's not a lot of time to get ready. Every day is so valuable. My work ethic is so valuable. My discipline is so valuable. The videos that I put out and share with you, the information I give for free, like XTZ, 40% gains already. If you would have invested $100,000, you made 40 grand over the last couple of days. Congratulations. My hat is off to you. Don't thank me. Thank Jesus Christ, the King, who tells me all these things, who lives through me as a watchman on the tower to tell you exactly what's going to happen with future events. Does that make me a prophet? I don't know. I don't claim to be one, but it does make me a watchman. It makes me somebody who's invigorated by the Holy Spirit, who can hear God and hears Christ through me, and is blessed as I kneel for him in total humility as his servant, and know in all knowing that the power does not come from me. It only comes from him. Just like the disciples were able to heal, just like I am able to build the Island Project along with my father. It doesn't come from us. It comes from Jesus Christ the King. Do you know, and I'll leave you with this as I continue to just burst with the amazingness of the Holy Spirit today, that every single property that the Island Project has ever bought, the day I'm signing the contract, this almost brings a tear to my eye, the day I'm signing, the day that we're putting the offers in and tying it up into escrow, what shows above every single property? Giant rainbows. Every single last one. Every single last one. And it's a commandment, and it's the covenant of God to never flood the earth again. But what does he tell us is coming upon his imminent return? He tells us what's coming is a magnitude of what we're currently witnessing in Texas, what we witnessed in Lahaina. Fire. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. I am Christopher Greene. God be with you all. Fund directly through portal, islandproject.com. Speak with my father. Sign your agreements today. Move your first 30, 100 plus units into the Island Project now. See if it's right for you. We'll tell you if it's not. But get into this. Roll over your IRAs. Roll over your retirement accounts. Call Papa John and or text him to place yourself in line after signing your agreement at 808-442-2934. That's 808-442-2934. Fire Dave Ramsey. Fire your financial advisor. Hire the general. Hire Papa John, who's been right about Bitcoin, who's been right about world events, who's been right about Island Project, who's been right about real estate, who's been right only through the power of Christ, only through the Holy Spirit, because we have been ordained to build the digital Noah's Ark. Registered trademark, of course, of my companies. I love you so much, and I'm very excited to tokenize very soon. Maddie, what is up? God bless you. God be with you all. I salute all of you. Buy XTZ. That's a freebie. I'm giving you guys a freebie right now. Buy XTZ. It's available on Coinbase. It's available on all major tier 1 exchanges. Buy XTZ. Tezos, tell your Bezos. Tezos, tell your Bezos. Tezos, tell your Bezos. XTZ. Those are X. Those are freaking X. I love you.